I was once a loving husband and devoted father with what I thought was the perfect family. Then the divorce happened, and my ex-wife Jessica somehow turned my extended family against me overnight. I became the villain in their story, cut off from people who once treated me like their own son. But when Jessica's new girlfriend, Tara, started crossing boundaries with my 7-year-old daughter, Sophia, I knew I had to take a stand. Some lines you just do not cross. Before I share how I fought back and reclaimed my family, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. And if you have ever had to stand up for your child, hit that subscribe button now. My name is Dimitri, 35 years old, and working as a software engineer in Seattle. I met Jessica when we were both in our late 20s. She was smart, ambitious, and had this infectious laugh that could light up any room. We dated for 2 years before getting married, and welcomed our daughter Sophia a year after our wedding. Sophia quickly became the center of my universe. She inherited my dark curly hair and Jessica's bright blue eyes. Even as a little kid, she showed incredible talent for art, filling our refrigerator with colorful drawings and our hearts with pride. I structured my entire work schedule around being present for her, taking her to school in the mornings and making sure I was home for dinner every night. For the first few years, our marriage seemed solid. Jessica worked at a marketing firm downtown, and I supported her career ambitions completely. I thought we were building the life we both wanted. Around our 5th anniversary, things started to change. Jessica became increasingly dissatisfied with everything about our relationship. No matter what I did, it never seemed enough. The late nights at work became more frequent. The emotional distance grew wider. I suggested counseling, but Jessica insisted nothing was wrong beyond normal marriage stresses. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. That was my first mistake. The truth came crashing down one evening when I picked up Jessica's phone to order takeout while she was in the shower. A message notification appeared from someone named Tara with a heart emoji. What I read next shattered my world. Jessica had been having an affair with her coworker for months. The messages were explicit, intimate, and devastating. When I confronted Jessica, I expected denial. Instead, she seemed almost relieved. She told me she had fallen in love with Tara and wanted a divorce. Just like that, 8 years together were reduced to a conversation that lasted less than 30 minutes. The divorce process showed me a side of Jessica I never knew existed. In her version of events, I was controlling and emotionally unavailable. She painted herself as someone who had been trapped in an unhappy marriage, finally finding freedom. The narrative was so convincing that her family, people who had embraced me for years, turned against me almost overnight. Her parents, Margaret and Thomas, had always treated me like a son. We spent holidays together, took family vacations, and had Sunday dinners twice a month. After the divorce announcement, they stopped answering my calls. When I finally reached Margaret, her voice was cold and formal. She told me they needed to support their daughter and asked that I respect their space. Jessica's siblings were even worse. Her brother Ryan, who had been one of my closest friends, blocked my number. Her sister Amanda, who had once confided in me about her own marital problems, now acted like I was a stranger when we crossed paths at Sophia's school events. The custody arrangement felt like another defeat. Despite my involvement in every aspect of Sophia's life, the court awarded Jessica primary custody. I was relegated to weekends and one dinner visit during the week. The judge explained that maintaining stability for Sophia meant keeping her in the family home with her mother. It did not matter that I had been the one reading her bedtime stories every night. I moved into a small apartment about 20 minutes away from our family home. Each room felt empty without Sophia's laughter echoing through it. The weekends with her became my lifeline, the only time I felt like myself. We established new routines, exploring parks, museums, and making pancakes on Sunday mornings. I made sure never to speak negatively about Jessica, even when Sophia asked difficult questions about why Mommy and Daddy did not live together anymore. The depression hit hardest when Sophia returned to Jessica on Sunday evenings. I would stand in my silent apartment, surrounded by the evidence of our weekend together artwork on the refrigerator, small shoes by the door, and feel a crushing loneliness. Friends tried to set me up on dates, but I had no interest. My focus remained solely on being the best father I could be within the constraints of our custody arrangement. I found unexpected support through an online group for divorced fathers. These men understood the unique pain of being separated from your child, the frustration of co-parenting with someone who seemed determined to erase your contribution. Their advice helped me navigate the early months when I felt completely lost. Work became another refuge. I threw myself into projects, earned a promotion, and established a reputation as someone dependable in crisis situations. The irony was not lost on me that as my personal life collapsed, my professional life flourished. But success felt hollow without family to share it with. The family gatherings I was no longer invited to haunted me, especially during holidays. Seeing Facebook photos of Thanksgiving at the Johnsons with everyone present except me cut deeper than I could express. Through it all, I kept showing up for Sophia. I never missed a weekend, a school play, or a soccer game, even when I knew Jessica's entire family would be there. Their cold shoulders, a physical reminder of how completely I had been excommunicated from their lives. For Sophia, I would endure any discomfort. 6 months after our divorce finalized, Jessica and Tara made their relationship public. A month later, Tara moved into what had once been our family home. That was when the real problems began. The first sign something was wrong came when Sophia returned from a week at her mother's house, using phrases that did not sound like her at all. When I asked about her art class, she sighed dramatically and said, "What is even the point? Tara says art will not pay the bills anyway." This stunned me. Sophia was 7 years old and someone was already dismissing her passion. When I gently asked who had told her that, Sophia looked uncomfortable and changed the subject. But over the next few weeks, similar comments continued. Tara says your apartment is too small. Tara says you should get a real house. Tara says men are not good at taking care of kids. I tried to address these concerns directly with Jessica, calling her one evening after Sophia had fallen asleep. She dismissed my worries entirely. "Tara is just being honest with Sophia," Jessica said. "Maybe you are too sensitive to handle a strong female role model in her life." That conversation set the tone for what would become a pattern. Every concern I raised was twisted into evidence of my supposed issues with Jessica's relationship, rather than legitimate parental concerns. The situation escalated when I arrived at Sophia's school for parent-teacher conferences to find Jessica and Tara already there. Before I could even sit down, Tara introduced herself to the teacher as Sophia's other mother. The teacher looked confused, glancing between us. I bit my tongue, not wanting to create a scene in front of Sophia's teacher. Later that month, I received a call from Sophia's pediatrician, confirming an appointment to discuss starting her on medication for focus issues. This was the first I had heard about any such concerns. When I called Jessica, she informed me that Tara, who worked in healthcare administration, had noticed some attention issues and had already consulted with a specialist. "You cannot make medical decisions without consulting me," I said, trying to keep my voice calm despite my rising anger. "Tara has experience with these things," Jessica replied dismissively. "We are just doing what is best for Sophia." The term we stung. Jessica and Tara had become a unit making parental decisions while I was treated like an afterthought. The most shocking boundary violation happened when Sophia arrived for our weekend with a drastically different appearance. Her beautiful, long, curly hair, which she had been so proud of, had been cut into a very short style similar to Tara's. Sophia seemed unsure about the change, touching her head self-consciously. "Mommy and Tara said I looked more grown up this way," she explained when I asked who had decided on the haircut. That evening after Sophia went to bed, I called Jessica. "You had no right to make such a significant change without discussing it with me first," I said, struggling to keep my voice down. "It is just hair," Jessica responded coldly. "It will grow back." Tara took her to her own stylist as a special treat. The boundary violations continued to escalate. Sophia mentioned that Tara had instructed her to call her Mom T, to distinguish from Mom J for Jessica. When Sophia asked if that was okay, I told her gently that she should use whatever name she felt comfortable with. But inside I was seething. This was a clear attempt to establish Tara as an equal parent, erasing my role in the process. Sophia's teacher emailed both Jessica and me, expressing concern about changes in Sophia's behavior at school. She had become withdrawn in class and had trouble concentrating. During recess, she often played alone, rather than joining other children as she had before. I sought advice from my lawyer, who cautioned me against appearing difficult or resistant to change in the eyes of the court. Document everything, she advised, but be careful about making accusations without substantial evidence. This pragmatic advice frustrated me. While I gathered documentation, my daughter was suffering. The breaking point came during a phone call on the evening of Sophia's birthday. I had planned a special celebration for the coming weekend, but I called to wish her happy birthday on the actual day. Sophia answered the phone crying. Through her tears, she told me that during her birthday party, to which I had not been invited, Tara had announced her plans to formally adopt Sophia. She said she is going to be my real parent now, Sophia sobbed. But I already have a dad. I do not want a new dad. My heart shattered listening to my daughter's confusion and distress. Later that night, I received a text from Margaret, Jessica's mother, who had apparently been troubled by the event as well. It was the first direct communication I had received from her in nearly a year. "Dimitri, what happened today was not right," she wrote. "Tara told Sophia that you did not really want full custody of her, that is why you only see her on weekends. Jessica did not correct her. Something inside me shifted in that moment. The passivity that had characterized my approach to co-parenting evaporated. My daughter needed me to fight for her, and that was exactly what I intended to do. The next morning, I called in sick to work and contacted a new family lawyer, Eliza Reed, who specialized in high-conflict custody cases. I laid out everything that had happened over the past months, including the text from Margaret. "This is textbook parental alienation," Eliza said, after listening to my account. "And the involvement of a third party attempting to replace you makes it particularly concerning from a legal standpoint." She outlined a strategic approach that focused not on attacking Jessica or her relationship with Tara, but on Sophia's well-being and my parental rights. "We need to document everything meticulously," she explained, "and we need external validation of the impact this situation is having on Sophia." With Eliza's guidance, I began building my case. I started keeping detailed records of every concerning comment. Sophia made every change in her behavior, and every instance where decisions were made without my input. I recorded our conversations, which was legal in our state, as long as one party consented to the recording. I scheduled a meeting with Sophia's school counselor, expressing my concerns about the changes in her behavior. The counselor confirmed that Sophia had been visiting her office, frequently expressing confusion about her family situation and anxiety about disappointing either household. With the counselor's recommendation, I arranged for Sophia to see a child psychologist specializing in divorce and family transitions. Dr. Lenore Watson met with Sophia weekly, providing a safe space for her to express her feelings. Dr. Watson documented Sophia's increasing anxiety and the pressure she felt to choose sides. Armed with 3 months of documentation, professional assessments, and the unexpected support of Jessica's mother, who had become increasingly concerned about Tara's influence, we filed for a modification of the custody arrangement. We requested a psychological evaluation for Sophia and formally documented the patterns of parental alienation. The court date was set for 6 weeks later. During that time, the situation at Jessica's house apparently deteriorated. Sophia reported that Tara and Jessica argued frequently about her. Tara had begun restricting Sophia's phone calls with me, claiming they were disruptive to household harmony. When the day in court finally arrived, I was a bundle of nerves, but also strangely calm. For months, I had felt powerless. Now I was taking action to protect my daughter, regardless of the outcome. Jessica and Tara arrived together, looking confident and composed. Their lawyer immediately attempted to frame the case as stemming from my discomfort with their relationship, rather than legitimate parental concerns. Mr. Pon Volkov is clearly struggling with the fact that his ex-wife has found happiness with another woman, their lawyer argued. This custody modification request is motivated by homophobia, not concern for the child. Judge Patricia Rivera, a veteran family court judge with 20 years on the bench, listened impassively before turning to my lawyer. "I would like to hear the specific concerns that prompted this filing." Eliza presented our evidence methodically, beginning with the documentation of boundary violations and moving to the professional assessments of Sophia's deteriorating emotional state. She played selected recordings of Sophia describing her confusion and distress over Tara's comments about me. The most damning evidence came from Dr. Watson, who testified about the psychological impact of the current situation on Sophia. "The child is exhibiting clear signs of anxiety and depression," she stated. She reports feeling torn between loyalty to her mother and Tara and her love for her father. This is causing significant emotional harm. Jessica's lawyer attempted to discredit Dr. Watson's assessment, suggesting that any child of divorce experiences adjustment issues. This line of argument faltered when Sophia's teacher testified about the specific timeline of behavioral changes, which correlated directly with Tara's increased involvement. The unexpected turning point came when Margaret Anderson, Jessica's mother, took the stand as a witness for my side. There were audible gasps in the courtroom, and Jessica's face registered shock and betrayal. "I love my daughter," Margaret testified, her voice trembling slightly. "But what is happening to my granddaughter is wrong. Tara has been systematically trying to replace Dimitri in Sophia's life with Jessica's permission. I have witnessed Tara telling Sophia that her father does not really want her, that he is just going through the motions. No child should hear such things about a parent who clearly loves them." Jessica appeared stunned by her mother's testimony. Tara, however, grew increasingly agitated as the proceedings continued. When it was her turn to testify, her composure cracked under Eliza's careful questioning. "Of course I want to be Sophia's real parent." Tara snapped after a particularly pointed question about her Mom T designation. "I am the one there every day, not just swooping in for fun weekends. Jessica and I are building a real family, and Dimitri is just an obstacle to that process." The courtroom went silent. Judge Rivera's expression darkened. She asked Tara directly, "Do you believe it is in Sophia's best interest to minimize her relationship with her father?" Tara hesitated, then doubled down. "I think it would be easier for everyone if he just stepped back and let us be a family without all this interference." Judge Rivera called for a brief recess. When she returned, her decision was swift and decisive. She granted me temporary full custody of Sophia with supervised visitation for Jessica, explicitly excluding Tara from these visits until further evaluation. She ordered family therapy for all parties and established clear boundaries for communication and decision-making. "This court takes parental alienation very seriously," Judge Rivera stated. "The evidence suggests a concerning pattern of behavior that is detrimental to the child's well-being. The primary consideration must always be what serves the child's best interests, not the adult's preferences or agendas." As we left the courtroom, I felt no triumph, only relief that Sophia would now be protected from the harmful dynamics that had been developing. Jessica avoided my eyes, but as she passed, I heard her whisper, "We need to talk." Without Tara. The weeks following the court decision were a period of adjustment for everyone. Sophia moved into my apartment, which suddenly felt too small for her growing collection of books and art supplies. Within a month, we found a comfortable 3-bedroom house with a backyard closer to her school. Jessica attended her first supervised visitation 3 days after the court ruling. She arrived alone and tearful. The supervisor reported that the visit went well, with Jessica focused entirely on reconnecting with Sophia rather than discussing the court case or home situation. A week after the ruling, Jessica called me directly. She informed me that she and Tara had broken up. She showed her true colors in court, Jessica admitted quietly. "I never realized how she was manipulating not just Sophia but me as well. Looking back, I can see how she isolated me from everyone, including my family. I offered no judgment or gloating. Sophia loves you," I said simply. "She needs both of us to be at our best." The family therapy sessions ordered by the court proved invaluable. Our therapist, Dr. Martinez, created a safe space for honest communication. In our third session, Jessica broke down completely. "I was so afraid of being alone after the divorce," she confessed. "Tara made me feel special again, needed. She convinced me that you were trying to turn Sophia against me, that we needed to present a united front. I let my insecurities cloud my judgment at Sophia's expense, and I will regret that forever." This vulnerable admission marked the beginning of genuine healing. The supervised visitations ended after 2 months of positive reports, and we began working on a more balanced custody arrangement. Sophia spent weekdays with me to maintain school stability, and long weekends with Jessica, with both of us participating in school events and activities regardless of whose time it was. Margaret and Thomas, Jessica's parents, reached out to me separately, expressing deep remorse for their role in cutting me off from the family. "We believed what we wanted to believe," Thomas admitted during a difficult conversation over coffee. "It was easier to accept Jessica's version than to ask hard questions." Our first attempt at a family dinner, including Jessica's parents and siblings, was awkwardly painful, with too many unspoken resentments simmering beneath polite conversation. But the second dinner went better, and by the third, glimpses of our former ease with each other emerged. For me, the experience forced growth in unexpected ways. I found my voice as Sophia's advocate and learned to set boundaries without apology. The support group that had been my lifeline during the darkest days became a place where I could now offer guidance to newly divorced fathers facing similar challenges. Jessica and I slowly rebuilt a foundation of trust, focused solely on Sophia's well-being. We established clear communication protocols and consulted each other on all major decisions. When Jessica started dating again 6 months later, she introduced the new person in her life to me before Sophia met him, a gesture of respect that acknowledged our co-parenting partnership. Sophia flourished under the new arrangement. Her anxiety symptoms diminished, her school performance improved, and her artistic talents bloomed. The child psychologist noted that she no longer expressed confusion about family loyalty or fear of disappointing either parent. One evening, as I was tucking Sophia into bed in her room at my house, she asked a question that revealed how far we had come. "Dad, remember when everything was really bad and confusing?" "Yes, sweetheart, I do," I answered carefully. "I am glad you fought for me," she said, simply squeezing my hand. "Even when it was hard." Those words validated every difficult moment, every painful court session, every sleepless night, spent worrying about the outcome. Standing up for Sophia had cost me emotionally and financially, but I would make the same choice 1,000 times over. Today, nearly 2 years after that pivotal court hearing, our family exists in a new configuration that none of us could have predicted. Jessica and I communicate with respect and even occasional warmth. The extended family gatherings include me again. Most importantly, Sophia moves between her two homes with security and confidence, knowing both her parents put her needs first. I learned that sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what is truly important. Fighting for your child is always worth it, no matter the cost. And sometimes the family you rebuild after everything falls apart is stronger than the one you lost. Have you ever had to stand up for something important even when it felt like everything was against you? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more stories about overcoming family challenges. If you know someone who might be going through something similar, share this video with them so they know they are not alone. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes our greatest strength emerges when we have no choice but to be strong.